Welcome to Wild, Women in Lending Determined to Make an Impact. I'm your host, Robin Lavasser. They say our biggest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's being powerful beyond measure. In this podcast, I will share how to break through imaginary ceilings, lean into success, discovering your purpose, and understanding how to create the business and life of your dreams. From failures to triumphs and all the tactics in between, let's jump into the wild arena together. Welcome back to Wild with Robin Lavasser. I am so excited for today's topic. This is one of those tools that I used predominantly in my business, especially after a little bit of evolution. And so tracking your business in general is something that we talk about a lot, that I talk about a lot, that anybody will tell you is needed, right? Because it balances logic and emotion appropriately. So going through lists is one way to absolutely know who to call and who to kind of pay attention to. And the format that a lot of us have been taught in coaching in general is work off of a few different lists and make sure those lists are updated, current, relevant. To me, joyful is a word that comes with lists, meaning you're looking down and saying, hey, who am I supposed to call today? What's my intention behind the calls? And I have a focused list. If you're currently a loan officer or in sales in general, and your lists are like up here in your head and you're thinking, those are my clients, these are my referral partners, I know who to call. I promise you, you're playing too small in your business. And it's not really a business, because when everything's up here, you don't really say, hey, I'm working this like it's a true real business and I'm targeted and intentional, right? I like to call that your ID, your intentional direction of where you are going and what you're meant to do. And so one of the things that I did was I did well with lists initially. And I don't want you to hear this and say it needs to be an and or eliminate one or the other, meaning that the tool that I'm about to give you eliminates the list. For me, it became the predominant tool that I worked on, especially as my business built. And so I want to get back to it for all of you, because I think that it is actually a game-changing tool and one that is underutilized, and I'm excited to share it with you. So we're going to drop a link, but this is called an accounts pyramid. And as you can see, if you are watching, if you're not, it's basically a big old pyramid. It's just a triangle that is placed in front of you, and there are 4 layers to an accounts pyramid. Now, this tool, what's really interesting is that we often think, especially in lending, that the one layer of business that we have or that we're chasing when we say the word referral partner is real estate agent, period, end of story, realtor, realtor, realtor. That is one leg of your chair, right? One leg of your chair. There should be all sorts of others, but we often ignore or are really not focused or honed in on how our other legs of our chair are balanced. And I did a different episode on the chair of your business. I want to go through with you why the accounts pyramid is so powerful. And so let's start at the very bottom of an accounts pyramid. And this is probably the hardest space for people to not only fill up, but understand and think bigger about how they're going to fill it. And so the bottom is prospects. And prospects are people you want to start referring you business, period. I have to tell you, call me wide open, if you will. I'll say it that way. But I want everybody to refer me business, right? And you should be thinking the same thing. Everyone has an opportunity to say your name. And I've always said, I want everybody to say, gosh, I'm thinking about something that has to do with real estate or lending. Robin Lavasser. Robin Lavasser. Like, that's how I want it programmed, so that they go, there's the trusted resource. There's my right hand in this space. There's my first phone call that I'm going to make. How do I do that? When you think about prospects, there's 50 of them on this list at the bottom of the pyramid. And what I call that is your foundation. And your foundation is what everything else ultimately stands on, which means, kind of like Jenga, you can't take out too many boards of the foundation or eventually the tower tips, right? When it comes to a pyramid, you don't have much of a pyramid if you don't keep a foundation full. So 50 prospects of people you want to send you business. What I love is it doesn't have to be all agents. It could be loan officer at another bank that doesn't have the same products as you. It could be your dentist office. It could be your hairdresser. It could be your own spouse or partner. It could be your parents who might be great connectors, an attorney, a tax accountant, a dear friend who works at Costco and happens to refer everybody and their mother to you all the time. Those could be prospects, if you will. It could be a brand new client you met with yesterday, but you recognize that, they're a firefighter. And what are firefighters? They're family members with who they serve their shifts with. So when you think prospects, I want you to take all of your limitations off and all of your preconceived notions of it has to be a realtor, it has to be this, and just think it has to be anybody that I want to refer me business. But thinking about, I also want them to move up the ladder. And this will make sense here as I go to number 2. So that's your bottom. The biggest issue, and I'll circle back around with your prospecting piece, in addition to thinking bigger and who to put on there, is how to keep it full. A lot of people start with a prospect list and it's like 10 people, 20 people. You should be thinking, I'm out of room. I have to remove somebody that's not good enough to be on that prospect list and put somebody back in there that is good enough to be in that prospect list. So very big deal that the bottom always stays full. Now here's what's really fun. The bottom has to stay full, and yet you want every person from the bottom to move up a level. You're playing chutes and ladders, if you will. And the goal is to keep people climbing till eventually they hit, the jackpot and win the game. That's the goal, is to get everybody climbing up the pyramid while keeping your foundation full. Okay, that's your prospecting line. They are not currently referring you, nor have they referred you any business in the last 12 months. That means they go in the prospecting line and you're trying to start moving them up. Okay, somebody you want to refer to you. Top 50. What is that? Well, top 50 alone is have referred or closed leads or up to 3 deals closed within the last year, which means they basically are not quite at 1 a quarter, but they have given you 3 total closed transactions and or are somebody that says your name and is referring you leads. Says your name and referring you leads. You should have 50 people that are doing that consistently. Great if you have more. I would love for your categories to be overflowing if they absolutely have to. I don't even care if you run 2 account pyramids, but keeping that full and then making sure that the foundation, the prospects is holding that up as well, meaning that if somebody falls off, gosh, I got a bunch of closings from them and then they moved or this happened. And so I have to work on moving one of my prospects up into that empty spot. If you kept your top 50 full, think about this, and there was 50 people who referred you leads, and or closed 3 deals with you. So let's say that even half of those people closed 3 deals with you in a year total. So let's go 25 times 3, we'll go conservative and say that in itself is 75 units in 1 year. 75 units in 1 year. If you just have a top 50 that is truly a top 50 and half of that top 50 refers you the 3 deals that are closed. Now, if all of them, we could go the other direction and say, what if all of the top 50 referred in leads and of those leads 1 closed? So your whole top 50 did 1. Okay, now you're at 50 transactions conservatively. So 50 to 75 transactions out of your top 50, I think is a very realistic expectation in terms of how many closings you're about to do. Let's go to your next one, accounts. This is tricky. And this is where, yes, it gets thinner at the top of a triangle. If you think about that, it gets thinner to find people who are going to that consistently, not only be able to refer you that many closed deals, but then stay in those arenas. Very hard to do. And something that most lenders and real estate agents, people in sales in general, they do most of their work in that top 50 zone versus their accounts and or their channel accounts. So third level is accounts. Let's define what an account is. It's an average of 1 closing per quarter. So basically you're saying you're not just giving me leads, we're consistently closing 4 or more deals a year. 4 or more deals a year. And I'll tell you where the cutoff comes in and then they go to the next level, but 4 or more deals. So if you truly have 20 people doing 4 deals with you, and then below that, you have people in your top 50 realm. So 20 people doing 4 deals with you, that's 80 plus, let's go with the 50 mark, right? Let's even be conservative. Just levels 2 and 3 get you 130 closings a year. Conservatively, 130 closings. And I'm going to talk about how to fill it and then how to work it, but I want it to be broken down for you guys. And then your top is your channel accounts. This one's incredibly hard to stack and have. I'd love to have a waiting list of channel accounts and or an overflowing upside down pyramid where it just got too wide up at the channel accounts, but it's incredibly hard to do because channel account is literally defined as one closing per month period. So you have to be, and it might be, hey, I closed 3 with them 1 month and then none, and then went back to closing 1 and that kind of thing where you're averaging 12 closed transactions a year. But if you have 9 people closing 12 deals with you per year, that's 108 units on top of the 130 I just talked about. That's over 200, we'll just round it, over 225 units from working just one piece of paper, So how do you do it? Here's what I will tell you. First of all, if you don't have an accounts pyramid, feel free to shoot me an email, shoot me a message, however you need to do it, and I will get you a copy of the accounts pyramid editable. Then I want you to sit down and I want you to start at the very bottom and really be honest with yourself about who your prospects are and do you want them on the list, and then how you're going to take care of them, right? How you're going to court them. And if you really think about it, if you showed up on a Monday and you looked down and said, you know what, here's my accounts pyramid. All of these people need something of value from me and for me to stay top of mind with them. Right? Something of value and be top of mind. Hey, in the prospecting world, that might mean, I think of this a lot as dating. I use that metaphor a lot. In a prospecting world, you have to stay very present to get them to move up a level, right? Like I guarantee you, my husband and I texted and flirted and probably thought of each other in some ways a lot more the first week of our relationship or the first few months of our relationship than we do after 28 years of marriage. Not because we don't love each other, but because it's in that courting stage where you're making sure that, hey, we're Twitter pated, if you will. We're working on building something. That's where your prospecting list is at. And so when you show up and you say, you know what, I'm scrolling today. I'm going to scroll on Facebook for 20 minutes. Guess what? Scroll with all of your prospects as some of your favorite people and make it a point to, hey, these prospects are on Facebook, social media. You might even put a mark next to them. Instagram, whatever it is, I'm going to go in and comment. I'm going to leave a review. I'm going to reference them. I'm going to do things that potentially keep me top of mind with them. Hey, I'm writing my thank you cards for the week. I'm going to choose people off of this list. Hey, I'm about to make my theme day phone calls. I'm going to pull people off of this list and make calls to them as well, or send out my podcast or do an invite to my client appreciation event, whatever it is. Prospects, having that bird's eye view and saying, these are who we're trying to move up. Key component here. If you have a team, every single person on your team should understand, see, and work this accounts pyramid with you. Everybody should know this is where they currently sit and this is where we're trying to get them, right? We're trying to move them up a level. Top 50, same thing, and how to take care of it. You should be looking at it and saying, when was the last time I saw them, talked to them, thanked them? I guarantee you every single one of us has closed deals from somebody that was way better referral source than we realized. And we probably have not stayed in enough contact, shown enough gratitude, or given it enough overall honor, if you will, for them constantly saying your name. I had a lady named Kathy Davis. She was absolutely phenomenal. She referred me so much business. She's naturally a connector, born and raised in a small town just outside of Eugene. Everybody knows her. Everybody loves her. And the deals just kept coming in. I mean, over and over and over again. She sang our praises, sent us stuff. And she would have been truly probably an account, possibly even a channel account. But it took me until I really looked at my accounts pyramid to realize that, because I got so fixated on real estate agents and people in business. She wasn't any of that. She was a past client for me. And such an incredible soul, but I didn't have her on there where I was actually doing the things that I needed to do. I should be doing a pop by to her at the school she worked at, right? I should be paying attention to those accounts because success leaves clues, and I should be adding people in that prospecting to then move up. How fun is it if all your current clients and past clients fill a lot of your top 50 in your accounts, and they're doing that work alongside of real estate agents and other funnels of business from your chair? Here's the deal. When we don't have clear direction, when we don't have, I'm a bullet point person, so I love to take a quick look at something and it say, hey, have you done this thing justice this week? Have you worked it? Have you updated it? Have you moved things? Have you served, I guess is the best way to say it. Have you served this appropriately if it's truly a map to your business. And I see this as a GPS to closing over 200 units. When it becomes a tool that you choose to use every single day, you give it the respect and ultimately the action that it will require to then give you the results you're looking for. I hope this episode was helpful. We'll see you on the next Wild.